Comics have never shied away from using gods in their mythology, and today, we're going to explore the story of DC Comics' canonical first old god, Olgrun. Olgrun was introduced in DC's Warworld saga in 2021. Before we go any further, I would like to ask you guys to like, share, and comment on this video. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel to be up to date on all marvelous videos. With that being said, let's jump into the world of DC and talk about Olgrun, the OG old god. Olgrun's origin. To understand the old gods, we have to look at the cosmology of DC. Before anything, there was the present, basically capital G God, that existed with all the angels like Michael, Gabriel, and yes, the angel Samael, who would become Lucifer later on. They inhabited the sphere of the god, along with heaven and hell. Beyond that lay the great nothing. This could be called the Zero World. Out of the abyss came the old god. They originated from Godworld, also known as Asgard or Olgrun. During the first world, this world slowly segued into the second world, as the humanoid life forms on Olgrun attained godhood, thus becoming the old god, in which these beings reached a peak of immense power. Out of all the old gods, the first was Olgrun. He was a very powerful being who created many worlds full of wonder. He had a daughter, Anja, who wielded powerful magic herself, but an old god by the name of Bajolter, his own brother, tricked him into inadvertently slaying his own daughter. Realizing what he had done, Olgrun went mad with rage and vowed to bring his wrath upon all life. This caused the other old gods to rise against Olgrun and wage a full-blown war against him. Eventually, they managed to subdue him. However, they're unable to kill him for good, and as a result, divide his essence into 7 parts, or God aspect, and spread them across the multiverse. These aspects were each hidden inside a different world, each world acting as a type of containment device, having special challenges and traps to guard the aspect from the unworthy. One such device was on the planetoid that would one day be known as Warworld Prime. The core of Warworld, the ever-shifting city of Necropolis, became the hiding spot for the aspect called the Fire of Olgrun. There was a warning that the old gods left in the form of a prophecy. It was foretold that if the worthy being finds and unites all 7 aspects, then Olgrun will be reborn as the great hero he was meant to be. However, if an unworthy one does the same, then Old God will return from his wrath and lay waste to all. The old god, Byla, managed to trap Olgrun himself in the Dark Star of Finn, a rip in the space-time continuum. He stayed in Warworld Prime as a guardian to the Fire of Olgrun. When Superman was on Warworld, he had attained the Fire of Olgrun by going to Necropolis to replenish his power. However, he used the aspect to resurrect his adopted son, Azul-Ra. Superman was warned by Metron, the 4th world god, that by using the Fire of Olgrun, he risked awakening the old god scattered across the multiverse. Seems that was good advice now. How powerful is Olgrun? Olgrun was one of the most powerful old gods. He was referred to as the god of God. His powers are obviously immortality and omnipotence. Initially, his armies were known as the Radiant Host, and his purpose was to create world. Upon his fall, the old god now commands an army known as the Radiant Dead. The Radiant Dead is essentially an army of all-consuming space zombies from an alternate universe. They feed on the living energies of their foe, and their personal favorite, Emerald Light. Over in their universe, they managed to destroy nearly the entire Green Lantern Corps, barring 2. A young Green Lantern, Calvin Shepard, and currently the strongest Green Lantern, John Stewart. John managed to use his godlike power and send the entire Radiant Dead into and send them to another universe, the universe of John Stewart Prime. Why does Olgrun need Green Lantern? John Stewart, after becoming one with the Source, is now the most powerful Lantern. His powers are in many ways similar to Olgrun. Both are beings that have the power to build objects out of their will, and both can now create sentient construct. Olgrun, while too weak to face Stewart, sends the Radiant Dead to capture and infect John in an attempt to corrupt his mind and use his body as a host. For this mission, he sends the Revenant Queen, who is a construct of none other than his memory of Anja, his daughter. Anja wields the power of the Dark Star of Finn through a power ring, which serves as a conduit for Olgrun's power from within the realm of the Dark Star and the power of the Radiant Death. Olgrun pulled John into the Dark Star to corrupt his mind into letting the old god take control of his body and escape his prison. While we see an anthropomorphized version of Olgrun talking to John, we even get a glimpse of the giant hands of the old god's true self, tearing a rift in space-time to claim John's body as its host. However, John Stewart, being the godlike entity he now is, saw through this vision and took control of the Dark Star Ring of Anja, and wielded it together with his power ring to defeat the Old God and escape the Dark Star, with help from Green Lanterns, Callan Shepard, and Guy Gardner. With Stewart now wielding both Olgrun's Dark Star Ring and controlling the Radiant Dead, including Queen Anja, Olgrun will need to go back to the drawing board to think of a new plan to seek his revenge and return to wreak havoc on the multiverse. Marvelous verdict. It's obvious that Olgrun is going to be the big bad, pulling the strings over the multiverse in this edition of the DC Universe. It can be likened to Thanos' role in the MCU, slowly building up, showing up only in whispers and in cameo, and then eventually breaking all hell loose. Now, it will be interesting to see who finds all 7 God aspects of Olgrun, Superman having found one already, and it being wielded by the Super Twin. It's quite interesting to see if Darkseid will try to find the God aspects in a bid to take over the multiverse after Olgrun is done destroying it, or will they introduce a new villain who seeks to unleash the God of God, or will it be a race to find all the aspects, and in the end, we get to see Olgrun become the wondrous old god he once was upon his arrival. It'll also be interesting to see who will be the worthy being that awakens the original old god. The obvious answer on everyone's mind is obviously John Stewart. With his control of both the Dark Star Ring and the Green Lantern Ring, he has elevated himself to almost godlike status. But there is still Superman, the OG worthy being. He was worthy enough to harness the fire of Olgrun. It stands to reason that he could harness the power of the other god aspect. Or could it be someone else entirely? Comment down below how you think this Olgrun saga will play out. Well, that's all for today. As always, please like, share, and comment on the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be the first to be notified of all things Marvelous Video. Goodbye.